YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back. And in today's video, just days away from the NFL draft, we're going over the most overhyped players in this 2020 draft class. Whether the fans are maybe hyping them up a little too much, the media is, or maybe what we're hearing from teams. Maybe some teams are just too high on some of these players. So we're going to break them down. And just so we're clear here, overhyped, overrated, that doesn't mean bad. A lot of these players I like. I think they'll be very successful at the next level. Just a little bit too much hype for my liking, and I think a lot of people would agree with me. Before we get started, we have a whole bunch of NFL draft content on the channel, and actually a lot more still to come, even though the draft's right around the corner here, and we'll be live April 23rd, day one of the NFL draft, breaking it all down, instant reactions. It's going to be a lot of fun. Really enjoyed that last year, and we have two channels trying to reach that 50K goal on both of them, and then our Twitter is constant NFL draft talk and answering questions, a bunch of polls. That's a must follow. If you're trying to contact us or follow us on any of these pages, extra pages here, you'll find a link in the comments and description, including our podcast. You'll find a link down below for the Apple and Spotify podcast of the Goat House. Let's go to the most overhyped players. I'm going to start with the guy in the thumbnail, Justin Herbert. May be the king of this category here. A guy, actually, after his freshman year, I was predicting him to be, after his first year starting, predicting him to be the number one quarterback of the draft class he was going to be in. Just because you see the arm talent, you see, the prototypical size, the athleticism for size, you see all of it and you get excited. And that's how you judge guys when they first come in. You're not judging them based on reading defenses, being a leader, just going through progressions, all of that. You're just judging off the pure talent because you don't expect a young kid, to have those extras just yet. And you want to see them improve, and I didn't see that from Herbert, so that's why, it's a little underwhelming. I'm a lot lower on him than I once was, or thought I would be, I should say. But there's a lot of hype, a lot of top 10 hype, based on what the media is putting out there and what we've heard from teams and some fans. This one's mainly not a fan thing, but from what we've heard, it sounds like he will go top 10. I think he should go. I have an early second round grade on him. But he is a quarterback. He does have upside, so it's okay, and you kind of expect him to go a little earlier when the grade is. We see it every year. So that would put him late first for me. So, and I would like the situation with the Patriots or the Saints. Would love those situations. I would think more highly of Justin Herbert if he went to those teams and those situations, obviously. And that's where he should go. But he's going to go earlier than that, and the reason being is the eye test and just what you see when you look at Justin Herbert, and he has arm strength, but you see him big, strong dude, just a prototypical size, prototypical body of an NFL quarterback, and I think that gets a little, in people's heads a little bit, and the reason maybe why I'm not super high on him is, I haven't really seen improvement since when he first started. Offense definitely needs to be simplified for him. He decides on his first read, ends up being a first read quarterback. A little bit of a hesitation in this game, actually kind of a lot. It seems like he's in his own head a little bit, just thinking too much. And if you take that away and you unleash this talent, he's going to be special. But that's hard to do. It's hard. It's a tough task for a coach. So some teams I think will agree with me here. But all it takes is one, really, and there's going to be a team in the top 10, maybe a team just outside the top 10 that trades up, and he'll be taken a little early. So that's, for this list, there's different types of prospects. This one is overhyped in terms of, I guess, what we're hearing. Jalen Hurts, had to throw Hurts on here. And I think we're starting to hear from teams that we heard Rapport actually say he wouldn't be shocked if he went in the second round. I would be shocked. But that tells us, he's going in the third somewhere. So he'll probably go around early third. I think he should go late fourth. What I think here, I think pretty much everybody gets a little hyped on where the NFL's heading, and Jalen Hurts is a runner, that can also throw. So we're going to kind of go, that new school route, maybe a Lamar Jackson route. You can't really compare him to Lamar Jackson, but Hurts has a long way to go, in terms of, he can run, but taking care of the ball and being an actual passer. You look at the big games. You look at even the Baylor games. They came back the first time. They won the second game as well in the Big 12 championship games. But you kind of put them in some rough situations in those big games, and then that almost costed him. And you look at the game against LSU, just so many simple throws. You had CeeDee Lamb multiple times, and I could see CeeDee Lamb's getting frustrated. Just behind him, way too far in front of him, just a little bit of panic in his game in the big moments. It felt like, so he's got a ways to go. It's going to have to be unique offense, but it's gonna have to be on a special level because he doesn't have the accuracy, the arm talent of Kyler Murray. He's not even as fast as Kyler Murray, and he doesn't have the size, the athleticism, the long speed, or the passing ability of Lamar Jackson. So I think people are getting a little too hyped up on what's working in today's NFL and forgetting where the actual talent level is. I would like him as a second-string quarterback, and maybe you can get unique with him down the line, but in terms of a potential starter, turnaround starter, I don't think so. I think people are getting a little hyped on that. It's a mixture of everybody. It's a mixture of everybody for why this one's overhyped. Moving on, Jonathan Taylor, and this one seems to be fans. The fans are overhyped on this one. And there's just some random, people in the media that will put. I randomly see him late in the first round of mock drafts, and I just don't see it. Jonathan Taylor, great talent. Running back one traits. He's got the speed. He's got the elusiveness, the strength. The vision. He's got it. But the mistakes in his game, the fumbles, 15 fumbles last 3 years. He put the ball on the ground 18 times, actually. The drops out of the backfield and over 900 carries. So there's a lot of things to worry about to say there's no way this guy could be a late first-round pick because you have to limit him. He's not for every team. This is a big one. When it comes to mock drafts and I have him down, people attack me for this one. Why isn't he higher? So there's just such a love for Jonathan Taylor because he is a good running back. You only see the goods. You're kind of really not thinking about the bad. So, but there's some hype around him. There's some hype, and he could go, mid-second. But, I think where he should go is mid-third because you look at the value of the running back position first off, and then you looked at he's a good running back. He's gonna be good. He's gonna be good in the NFL. I don't want anybody to get me wrong here. He's gonna have those big time plays. That may win the game for the team, but you gotta limit him because of the fumbles. So I think in combining all that, the value of the running back position, all that, the issues. I think he should be around a mid-third round pick, which is pretty good with a guy with some major issues. And I do think people disagree. Sometimes there's people that disagree with the fumble. Like he doesn't have the fumbling concerns. Like I just don't get how you could say that. So that's a guy that people are just attached to a little bit and why he's on this list, but a very good talent, obviously. Next, we got Adam Trotman, the Dayton tight end. I think he should be around a mid-fourth round pick, and there's a lot of buzz about him. Could go late second, early third. Some people have him number one tight end in the class. And you could see it at times. There's some dominance at times. I definitely think there's better tight ends. And I think people get hyped up when there's a small school guy and you see dominance on the field, but you forget who he's playing. It's going to be a transition. It's going to be a tough one. Wasn't thrilled with the combine, seeing him actually move around and all the drills, everything either. So little guy, one of those guys that I'm a little lower on than most people, and I think there's just too much buzz because. Yeah, small school guy. You just like the idea of him, and you like him, bullying some guys that he's just definitely better than and should be a lot better than. So I think people are a little hyped for that reason. We'll see what number tight end he's off the board. I don't think he's the best tight end in the class, so we'll see. Next, Austin Jackson, the USC offensive tackle, left tackle. He's getting a lot of buzz around the late first. I've actually heard people say it's possible he goes mid-first. So we're hearing that. It's very possible. Sometimes it's smoke. I don't feel it is. But I think, he's around a mid-second round pick. He's had some really good games against the weaker competition. But then, he's got the game. For offensive linemen, all you need to see sometimes, tackle specifically, is what works against them. And, just see them get just almost embarrassed and torched in one game, and that's enough for it raises some concern, unlike other positions, and we saw that in some games throughout his career, but the most recent one too is the most recent game he played was against Iowa and AJ Epinesa, so where Epinesa just completely dominated him, and we're talking about Jackson possibly going before that guy. I know that's not how it works, but it's still kind of, you're putting that together. I think he'll be taken a little early, and I think this one's not really with the fans overhyping him. I think a lot of the fans agree probably early to mid-second. But there's just some buzz around the league about this one. Some buzz around the league. So definitely right about this time, an overhyped player. Next up, we got some defense players. Patrick Queen, I say a little overhyped. This one's really not where he would go and should go. It's in the ballpark. I'm fine with that. It's more looking at people's boards, some important people, their boards, and people have them top 15. I think that's just definitely too high. I think also some fans maybe a little high in some media because they just remember in the national championship game. National championship game, he looked like a top 15 player easy, but people just too focused on that game. You kind of got to go back and watch all of it. And the rest of it doesn't say anything near the level he played at the national championship game. Yeah, if you had to pick a game, which one you play your best at, which one to prove that you're an NFL player, that's the one. So that's the impressive one. It's the most recent one, so that's great. And he has a ton of upside too. Ton of upside. Only been at the position a couple years. But I think looking at people's boards, that's kind of why he made this list. I'm surprised at the top 15. Looks for him. So again, definitely could be a first-round player and deserving. So it's not a crazy one here. A lot of these players, every single one of these players on this list, I think are very talented and going to make an impact next level. So can't stress that enough. C.J. Henderson's a big-time one here. I think he should be in. I still think he's a first-round talent. So that's kind of just. It's a good example of that I'm not saying these guys aren't going to be good. I mean, they're going to make an impact, but I think he should go late. I'm okay with mid-first. Somebody took him mid-first. I'm okay. I'm all right. But he should be a late first, in my opinion. There's rumors. I know we're a week away from the draft here, and this is smoke season. This is smoke week. But sometimes things end up being true. But it sounds like he's going to go in the top 10. We hear about maybe the Jaguars take him at 9. We hear about the Falcons possibly trading up, and there's some other teams there. And there's a rumor going around from your trusted sources that there are some teams, not most teams, not even half the teams, but there are a good chunk of teams that have C.J. Henderson above Jeff Okudah, number 1 corner. So that makes him an overhyped player. For me, this is what the problem is. I think with me here. I think people look at him. Physical, fast. We saw him run real fast, train really well at the combine, and he successfully lands, pretty good press technique. And that's all great. That's all great. But you're forgetting some important parts. What about after that? What about after the press? Where's the coverage at? And I'm not saying he's terrible in coverage. I have him in the first round. He's good in coverage, but it doesn't really match the height of those things, And then you have, honestly, a big negative in the tackling. A lot of whiffs, a lot of putting the head down and whiffs. So there are some concerns that people just aren't focusing on. They're focusing on the highs. They're not really looking at the lows. The upside is tremendous, though, based on his abilities. It's hard to teach press like that. Sometimes either you have it or don't. So I guess that's where I can understand the hype. He's one of these where I can understand it, but I'm not really totally with it. So, yeah. Top 10. If we were talking mid-first, I wouldn't even put him up here because I'm late first. That's close enough, and I said I would be okay mid-first. But as soon as we start to talk top 10, which I think came out a couple days ago, that rumor, which I think everyone's trusting it, it's when it gets a little carried away. And then having him over Okudah makes it, I'm not one of those people that are saying Okudah is just. I mean, he is pretty clearly the best corner in the class, but I'm not one of those people that are just, because there's some people that just are saying that it's like really like not even close. Like he's a elite versus these guys all look like they're not even the ballpark. I'm not going too crazy like that, but still, it's surprising to see here that teams have Henderson above Okudah there. So we'll see what ends up happening there. Maybe it's just a little bit of smoke. We'll kind of go over in the future the latest rumors, and I'll try to decide if they're fact or smoke. We did that last year, but a couple more players to go over here. Xavier McKinney from Alabama. It's another one of those where it's more toward looking at people's boards. He may go right around where I think he'll go. I'm still back and forth on predicting where he'll go. I'm predicting in the range of, late first to probably early second. But based on people's boards, some well-known people, you got him well into the first round, and I just don't have that. Yeah, he's a talented dude, physical specimen, very athletic, even though the combine 40 was a little disappointing. It was pretty disappointing, actually, but my problem with him, you look at the tape, and I think why people are hyped on him is you see him play equally equally reps and equally as good free and strong safety, and that's impressive. Not a lot of guys are doing that. That's impressive. So I think people would, because he can play both, played both pretty well, they're going to put him kind of higher just because of that alone. I don't know if he has the kind of the speed mixed with range in the back end to play free safety in the NFL. Got away with it at times at Bama, at times, and he's better in the box anyway. So I think he'll be a solid, strong safety. I think he's just better covering underneath things. So, I think there's not a whole bunch there that screams in my face that this is a first-round guy. This guy's a top 25 player, which I see even top 20 on people's boards. So I think that's where the overhype is a little bit, but a good player is going to be a factor. And, yeah, you definitely rather, it's today's NFL. You'd rather have one of these guys in the box than some of these slow linebackers for sure. So I do understand that if you're trying to find a specific player like this. So I definitely understand it. Moving on to Jeremy Chin, last month or so, has got a bunch of buzz. You look at him, you have physical specimen, freakish dude, got the crazy athleticism as well. So that obviously draws the attention. That draws some hype, from the media, from everybody, and then smaller school, still Division I, so that draws a little bit of hype too. But then people start talking. Yeah, there's teams that like him. I even heard it's possible late first. I just don't see it. But with that, being out there, he's got to go in the second, you would think. A lot of teams do like him in the second. Some teams like him at safety. Some teams like him at slot corner. Some teams like him at linebacker. And you just see the size of the guy, and you just think linebacker. But I think he has a lot of work to do to actually play NFL linebacker. So I think it's a guy that's going to be pretty raw and not going to be ready right away. I'm just not seeing a lot what people are seeing that they say they're seeing on tape. I'm not just seeing a lot of it. Yeah, he's a freakish dude. He's got his really good moments. I think there's just a little bit too much hype, I think, since the combine, really. Just a little bit. You see him go against North Dakota State, the best of the best where he can play, and that's the games that I wish I saw more from him in those games, And I just didn't see enough to say this guy's going to be a hell of a linebacker. And again, you may rather, especially in a weaker, especially depth-wise linebacker class, you rather have a guy like this come up play in the box than some of these slow linebackers. You'd rather teach this guy. So I understand that. And we'll take a look at some honorable mentions. And again, I think all these players are, the only reason they're overhyped is because they have some sort of talent. But Jake Fromm, I think it's more of the fans. It's It's always attention driven to him. I think people, I think QB1, he was a star on the show, QB1. I think people get a little excited about those types of players. But yeah, pretty accurate quarterback, led Georgia pretty far multiple years. I think that could go into it, and I think he can be a solid quarterback. To me, as of now, he looks like, and everybody could grow, but he looks like a game manager. So I think people are just a little high on him. KJ Hamler, who's a tremendous talent, speedy guy, speed kills in today's NFL, of course. So, but you see the speed, you see the quickness, you see him here and there make those big plays, and people want to say, there's some people that think late first, but most people are second round, and then that kind of blinds you from the rest. And I think he's a heck of a player. I'm fine if somebody takes him in the second, but if it's mid, second, late second, I'm more comfortable early third. I'm a big fan of speed, especially if it's shown on the field with the big playability, and he has it. But yeah, all that kind of blinds people from, he did drop the ball a bit more than anybody in this class, 12 times on a 90 or so targets. So if you got to catch the ball, and I think he'll cut that number down. I do. But it's not a number that it's proven to be a number that's not going to completely go away. So it's not a guy that's going to get a whole bunch of targets every single week. So I think the speed makes people forget about the other things, but still a heck of a talent. Lynn Bowden from Kentucky, that gadget player. You see him play quarterback. You see him run across the field back and forth and run for a touchdown. You played some receiver. He ran the ball to the backfield. So those players always get the hype. There's some people. It's more the fan hype, I think. They think he could be a second, third round picks from what I heard. I don't think he goes that early. I think he's just one of the, you got to have a specific role for him. He's not going to be used a whole bunch of times during the game. He almost gives me running back vibes, running back feeling. He just needs to put on some size. So I would kind of like that. He's got tremendous vision. That's why I say that. And then a couple guys that got the production hype. Justin Matabuki, I see people's boards. They got him. There's some people out there that have him around the 30s range of their board. And there's people that'll put him early second round. I'm more comfortable third. You see the amount of production. You see the amount of plays on the quarterback. But if you watch the tape, a lot of it, you end up seeing. Because what you want to see from interior defensive linemen is quick pressure, because that's why it's such a factor. Because the trip to the quarterback is so quick, and it forces quarterbacks to do things they don't want to do, go outside the pocket, run into the edge rusher. And there wasn't a lot of quick pressure from him. It wasn't a lot of big wins against the offensive linemen. It was more of a lot of quarterback mistakes and some coverage sacks as well. But he did earn his play. He did earn his, production, and he did have the big plays at times. So people are just a little hyped on that production. Same goes for Curtis Weaver. Didn't do anything really special. Just beat guys that he should be and was better than the weaker competition. And it's really hard to say where he'll play. I guess because of his body type and the lack of speed. So it's another guy that may go a little later than you think, because the fans are a little hyped on the production. And then this one, I had a hard time putting on here because people are going to take it the wrong way. Jeff Okudah is the best corner in the class. He's a top prospect. He is going to be phenomenal, even though it takes a little time for corners recently, the last 10 years or even more. It takes some time for them to be big-time impact, but it's a big-time impact cornerback. The reason I put him on here is I see these boards, I see boards all over the place this time of year, out there, and there's people that have him at, I even seen 2, 3, inside the top, easily inside the top 5, and I'm just going to disagree with that. I have him in the top 10, so I have Jeff Okudah's a top 10 player, so I'm not trying to say, not going to be good or anything. I got to keep saying it because people will complain in the comments. Probably those people that skim through the video don't listen. So I just got to deal with it. But top 10 player for sure. Best corner in the class for sure. We'll make an impact. We'll start day one for sure. Potential future Pro Bowler, I wouldn't say right away, but that for sure. Just not a top 3. I just don't see how you can put him in the top 3 with this class. If you had top 8, I'm all right. Once again, we're going to be live for the first round, April 23rd, and with the other guys on the channel, and we're going to react to it, predict, have the big board up, see who comes off the board where. It's going to be real fun, and we got all the grade videos and winners and losers at the end of each day of the draft, so we're going to have you covered, throughout the 2020 NFL draft, just like we do every year. So hopefully you can join us. Hopefully you can watch all these other videos we have on the channel and more to come. Follow that Twitter, but we'll do the same video with the sleepers, kind of the deeper sleepers, and we'll do it with my guys, which I do every year. So the players that I am higher on than other people, pretty much everybody, and I think will make a tremendous impact. So those are 2 separate videos. All kinds of content here and more to come. So check it out. Please subscribe. Click that like button. Let me know your thoughts, who your overhyped players are. That's going to do it for this one, though. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.